Second, make sure this is on our social media pages. Let's see here.
Yeah, it's under Twitter.
All right, yep, it's showing up on Twitter. Let's see if it's showing up on Facebook. Let's see here. All right, we're good. We are good to go. Hello, guys. Welcome back to episode 119 of Titos and Chicken, your unofficial South Carolina Gamecocks podcast, coming at you with a low country state of mind. I got Zach here from Famously Garnet. What's going on, big dog?
What's up, guys? How's everything going?
Going good, going good. You know we love having you on with us, Zach. It's
Amen.
always a good time, a
It is.
nice long conversation. Lindsay, obviously, with me every episode. Lindsay,
Hello.
how are you?
We're hanging in there. We're good.
Yeah, nice flag you got there, by the way.
Thanks. Yeah, I had to find some packs, and I got it hung up finally.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, comment, all the above. Help us continue to get this podcast out there. It would be greatly appreciated. We are coming into the football season, so we're going to be here every week, pretty much. Well, once football season starts, we're here every week. But right now, we're here every 2 weeks. So just help us continue to get this out here. We would love that greatly. Let's jump into our quick hits, one of my favorite segments of this show. First of all, 37 days to kickoff. Zach, I literally follow your page on Twitter. That's the only reason why I know there's 37 days. You've been doing an amazing job with keeping up with that. I don't know. What game was that? I think it was yesterday. No, maybe it was the day before. You posted the South Carolina Louisiana Tech game, man.
Yes. Yeah.
That was you could have picked a better game than
that. It's tough. I mean, the problem is when you do these countdowns, there are a lot of good highlights from games that we lost.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And even when Brian Edwards went up for that ball.
Yeah.
And dude, it was incredible. I mean, that catch was insane. I mean, and for Bentley to do what he did instead of, spiking the ball and doing what he did and completing that pass to Brian Edwards, and of course, Parker in the game-winning field goal. I mean, that was
God,
we shouldn't have had to hit a game-winning field goal at home to beat Louisiana Tech. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but it's the truth.
It's not always pretty, It's not always pretty.
No. But a win is a win, We'll take it. Like I said, 37 days to kickoff. Zach and I, we have our tickets purchased for that North Carolina-South Carolina border battle. Cannot wait. That is going to be an epic day. College game day guys will be there as well. So, man, Charlotte, be ready, guys. I'm coming up there. I'm going to be ready. So it's going to be a good time.
Different outcome.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. The last time I was in Charlotte was the bowl game that we played against North Carolina, which that was a very good outcome. But the game before that was, what was that, Zach, 2019? When we were there for South Carolina, was that South? Yeah, obviously South Carolina, North Carolina.
Yeah, that was Sam Howell's premiere.
Yeah,
and, how he threaded that ball between J.C. Horn's hands is something I still, to this day, I watch that replay over and over and over again. Yeah. And that was like some kind of black magic. I can't. It still blows my mind that ball did not get intercepted or even tipped.
Yeah.
Insane.
I'll be honest with you, and we laugh and joke about this all the time. Zach and I were at the game together. Zach, when did I leave? Late third quarter?
Yeah.
They thought I went to the concession stand, guys, to get some food or a drink. Nope, just got in the car and drove back to Myrtle Beach.
Oh, God.
Middle of the football game, no big deal. That's literally just how angry I was at that game. Shouldn't have drove.
We were worried. We couldn't find Evan. Like, he would message back. I'm like, God, what happened to Evan? Like, he's like, he's taking the longest bathroom break ever.
Oh,
and
God.
we were worried because, like, we didn't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
We get back to the Airbnb. Is Evan there? Nah, it was not here, man. Like, is Cooler still here? I said, oh, man, is Cooler still here? He's definitely got to be around, right? No, it would. No, he
Yeah,
was
let
not.
me just leave my $400 cooler, Yeti
Oh,
cooler, in the
God.
middle of Charlotte. Thank God I have good friends like y'all who found it for one and held on to it.
That is
Zach was
pretty
about to create a Twitter account for it. Hey, lost cooler. You know,
Yeah.
like I was just like, good.
He's
I
gonna
mean,
take,
but I deserve that.
he's gonna
I
take
100%.
pictures with it at the lake, all kinds of stuff. I was gonna have a blast with it, but you know.
I 100% deserve that. I should not have left. But that's just how angry I was. So it was the season opener. I was like, yeah, you know,
Oh,
we're gonna win this game, and you know, shit happens. You know, so. Anyways, so like I said, 37 days to kick off, North Carolina, South Carolina border battle, college game day being there. Cox by 90 has a grand opening of his CB18 bar this Saturday, guys. Um, I I have no words. I'm so excited for Jeff. I really am. You know, he's an amazing guy. He's doing big things, not just in the bar scene, but also with Garnet Trust. You know, like I said, very happy for him and what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I look to try to make it to that event Saturday night just to show my support for him. I'm sure it's going to be a packed house. And this was the old Breakers. Zach, were you a fan of that bar when back in the college days, or what?
I mean, I went into Breakers and they had the Everclear slushies, you know, that kind of thing. And
You can't forget about those. Oh my
I
god!
mean, you can't. And I've talked to Jeff as well. Like, you got to make sure you got that right. So,
Yeah,
I think with CV18, it brings life into 5 points that has been essentially lost since we would go into 5 points, right? I mean, you look at 5 points now, and it is just about near a damn ghost town. Don't get me wrong; there are some great businesses in 5 points, but as far as the nightlife scene, it is an absolute joke. And hopefully, these students can actually get to see what 5 points used to be. Because I mean, right now it's a shell of what it used to be, and it's a joke.
and that's really sad because I think about Columbia and
Mhm.
I think of 5 points.
Mhm.
You know, that's just where we went. You
Mhm.
know, but this was also 10, 12 years ago. God, I'm showing my age now. But still, like, it was a good time. We were always out there on Thursday night for dollar beers or Friday nights or Saturday nights just for whatever, just to have a good time.
Yeah.
And now it's become a joke, and it's extremely sad. So hopefully this helps the area, bring some of the college students back to that area to have a good time. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the fact that Main Street is a thing now.
Mhm.
You know, Main Street was a ghost town when I was there. No
It
one went
was.
there besides homeless people. Excuse me
It
for
was.
saying that, but it's the truth, you know. So no, I'm happy for Main Street. There's actually some cool bars in that area that I would like to hit up if I make it there this weekend. So, but happy for Jeff, and their bar opening this weekend. Should be a good time, guys. So, all right, let's jump into this episode here. We are doing our first half of the season breakdown. First, we're going to start with number 21 North Carolina. Finished 9-5 last season, 6-3 in the ACC. I mean, really, you think of North Carolina, Zach? Let's be honest. You think of Drake May.
Right.
38 touchdowns last season, 7 interceptions, 4,300 passing yards. He also led the team in rushing with 686 yards. Like, what can this guy not do? So obviously, I mean, the key to the game is stopping him. That's not even a question. What are your thoughts on this matchup, Lindsay? You would say.
Yeah, I mean, clearly the border battle here, right? We love to see UNC, South Carolina play. Drake May, of course, his numbers are impressive, what you just read off. And you look back at their season last year and I mean, the poise he showed, I mean, he's clearly a leader on the team. He's clearly the one to look out for, all the things that you said, rushing and passing. You wonder too, like you look back at their season and they had a lot of close games, but ones that they won. So if you look back, they got blown out by Clemson. But other than that, I mean, they played competitive games, which I think is always important regardless of what conference you're in. But I just feel like obviously it's the Rattler Drake May showdown here for me. And I think it's going to be a close game. I think with it being game day, I mean, the cards are stacked high against both teams, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be nervous. I think the first game jitters are going to hit, but I think with Rattler being, in the position where he's decided to come back, I just think he will have the poise. He will have the more veteran game just because of, his age and his experience. That I think that is going to be what will change the game into our favor and help us to win. I think he's the key. I mean, Rattler having a stellar game is the key for us, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's you got to set the tone first game here. Last season we weren't really able to do that. I mean, even though we scored, I mean that first game, I can't remember the score off the top of my head, but it wasn't close. Who we played, but we didn't look like a unit offensively. So it took a little time for us to become that, but this season, this would be the perfect game. Everyone will be watching this game. I think we are the biggest game that day. Who else is playing that day? Colorado and
TCU, maybe?
TCU. Yeah, I mean but people are watching that game because of the coach. They aren't watching the game because of the players on the field. Mm-hmm. So everybody's gonna be watching us. ABC 7:30 that night. So Zach, your thoughts on this game?
I mean, kind of like what Lindsay says. I mean, with Spencer Rattler, I think this is going to be his show. When I think of UNC, I actually kind of more look at the defense and how they have not been a unit at all.
Oh my God! Well, I was going to get into that, but go ahead, take it away. They are awful.
They're horrific, man.
Wow.
It's one of those things that I've watched them over the past few years, and they've got some big guys. They got some heavy hitters. They got Desmond Evans, used to be a 5-star. Miles Murphy, UNC, a 5-star. You lose Storm Duck to the transfer portal, and they're just not a team that, I don't fear them as far as the way their defense goes. And I feel like you're in a shootout with North Carolina. I feel like you're going to give South Carolina the edge because of South Carolina's defense. Mm-hmm. And look, I get it. You got to generate some kind of pass rush for, to stop Drake May and UNC. And I feel like with what South Carolina has to offer, sure, there's a lot of unknowns around the edge position, obviously with Birch leaving and whatnot, and Gilbert Edmond as well. But you bring a lot of talented guys in. We get a lot of guys that I will foresee to step up this season. You bring in, freshmen like Desmond Umeozulu, which is an absolute edge by, everything about him screams edge. Mm-hmm. You get gear from the transfer portal. I feel like South Carolina is going to be in a better position than North Carolina, just mainly because of the defense. And I feel like we're just going to generate that kind of pass rush with, or be, our defensive line or our linebackers, man. And I love it. Goes back to the hiring of Travian Robertson, man. Travian Robertson was pass rush to South Carolina. He experienced it. He played with the best. Hey, man, I like how we sit in this one.
Yeah. Okay. Just a couple of stats on the defense for North Carolina. 128th of 131 FBS schools in sacks. That's listen to what I just said. 108th of 131 FBS schools in sacks. Wow. And gave up the third most rushing yards in the ACC and the most points in the ACC. Mm-hmm. This is the ACC. Like, come on, guys. Like, literally. I mean, but I don't know. This is a very unbalanced team.
Yeah.
Very heavy offensively. Very heavy offensively, and just defensively, they're not really good. So it's going to be a shootout. Zach mentioned that. I 100% think it's going to be a shootout. I can't give a score yet. We're not going to give scores on this episode. But I do chalk up a win for this game. Lindsay, I think you mentioned on our last episode, you gave a win for this game too. And Zach, I would say, from what you were saying, you think this is a win as well.
Yeah, and okay. You look how North Carolina closed out the season last year. They're on a 4-game losing streak right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that says a lot about them.
Good point too.
So
that's a good point too.
I like where we are, and UNC did lose Phil Longo, which is a great offensive coordinator. So I'm interested to see how much of an effect that's going to impact North Carolina as well. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, we all agree. 1-0 season opener. I'll take that. All right, let's go on to Furman. Furman was 10-3 last season, 7-1 in the SoCon. Solid running back they have there. Dominic Roberto. He had 1,100 yards last season and 11 touchdowns. Their quarterback, very very basic to me. 15 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Seems like more of a game manager to me than anything. They got their leading receiver back, 12 touchdowns, 762 yards. Defense gave up an average of 18 points per game. Guys, this was not going to be some sort of pushover type opponent. I can tell you that right now. All those guys returning, their run game is solid. Where would you go on this one, Zach, with this matchup?
Furman, from what I've talked to the different Furman insiders, there's somebody that covers Furman. I don't say insider, but somebody covers Furman. I don't think that exists, Furman insider. But
I don't think they have a 247.
No, they said that South Carolina should handle Furman, of course, but they wouldn't be surprised if it was like a 36-14 win, something like that. Mm-hmm. And I can kind of see that. Furman does bring a lot back, but also at the same time, you're coming into Williams-Brice Stadium for the first home game of the season.
7:30 kickoff. That is,
dude. Light show going on again. I don't like Furman's chances in this, and I think it could be worse than 36-13. I won't throw a score out there, of course, but I feel like South Carolina is going to win.
You think this is a runaway?
Well, I think you'll see Lenora Sellers in this one. Put it that way.
Okay, gotcha.
I think the debut could be that early.
Right. Okay, Lindsay, your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not well versed in Furman's history in football, so I appreciate the stats you came with about them. But yeah, I agree. I think the game before, the UNC game, is clearly going to be an emotional one, right? I mean, game day, all the things, right? Like all of the lights and cameras. So yeah, it could be maybe one of those, like we said, not an overpowering win. But again, you have to look at it as the first home game, just like y'all both said. And Willie B, lights, everything. It should be, easy, and it should be a no-brainer. And
I like the word you use there.
Yeah, it should on paper, but we all know how it goes. But I think if anything, if you see a few stumbles, early or whatever, it's a little closer than you anticipate. Maybe that coming from just an emotional game the week before, and coming off of that high, so to speak. But nonetheless, it's a win for sure, obviously.
Okay, all right. So we all agree on 2-0 through the first two. This is where things take a turn. Number 1, Georgia in Athens. The only good thing about this game, I feel, is we have the CBS 3:30 kickoff. I've been wanting this time slot for the absolute longest, and the CBS gives it to us. Obviously, guys, Georgia's coming off a national championship blowout over TCU, 65-7, which was not even a freaking game.
So bad.
We know Georgia. They lost a lot in the draft, but they were able to reload at the same time. Georgia, Zach, you would say top 5 in recruiting?
Yeah, Georgia.
Georgia, right around
top
there.
3, I think, last season.
Top 3, yeah.
Number 1. I don't know. Georgia's recruiting at such a high level. I can't even
keep up with.
Well, it makes me sick actually, kind of thinking about it. If I'm being real with you, it's just an excellency. You just don't think Georgia's going to go away. Yeah. Look, they got Mike Bobo right now. Mike Bobo. And look, that's somebody that, okay, what he did at South Carolina is one thing, but what he did at Georgia, there were Georgia fans that did not like Mike Bobo as well for the stuff that he did over there. South Carolina, I'm trying to remember if Mike Bobo was coaching in Georgia at the time when South Carolina beat Georgia in 2014, a team that South Carolina probably should not have beat that night. When they were number 5 or whatever it was, we were 24.
Yeah, God, I can't even remember. Wait, that game was at Williams-Brice, wasn't it? I do. Okay, so I do remember.
Correct. It was 38-35. I think was the final score, if I'm not mistaken on that one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the 2019 matchup we had with them, we shouldn't have won that game either.
Absolutely.
But I mean, hey, we did. So you never know what could happen in Athens,
Yeah.
guys. Like you don't. Uh, what was I going to say here? Their schedule. Have y'all seen their schedule this season?
It's a joke.
Is Tennessee's their toughest game, and then it's us.
Yeah.
Like, they don't play Alabama. They don't play LSU. Um, they play a weak Florida team. They don't play anyone.
No,
They play Ole Miss. I mean, what is Ole Miss? I mean, I don't.
you stop the
They're
running. You
so
stop Judkins, you're going to be fine against Ole Miss, in my opinion.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, but their schedule is not what you would expect a Georgia schedule to look like.
No.
Lindsay, your thoughts on this matchup here?
Yeah. I mean, Georgia is problematic, obviously. And like we said, I think they will be for a while, unfortunately, with the recruiting that they've done, and just the caliber that they play at right now is kind of ridiculous. But yeah, I think with Georgia, I mean, we know what we're getting with them, right? They're going to be huge on both sides of the ball. I mean, offensive line, defensive line. I mean, they're massive. I think that's going to be huge in this game as far as, they're just going to overpower us, I think, in those positions. But, playing in Athens doesn't help either, obviously. At 3:30, that place is going to be rocking. They're crazy. And for me, my hope is we just come out of this game injury-free, that everybody stays healthy through it, and we can just keep it moving, and look forward to some other big games that I think will come that we'll talk about in just a couple games. But it's a loss for me, unfortunately. But who knows? I mean, who knows?
Zach, would you agree with a loss here in Athens, week 3?
The only way we get, I mean, that's tough to say. I don't even want to word it the way I was going to. But let's say, for example, if Carson Beck is not all that he's cut out to be, and I'm not saying that he's not, but let's say he isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Even that, I mean, I still think the line of scrimmage between the two is it's such a massive difference in Georgia's favor. I want to be that guy, but like, hey, you know what, 2019 could happen again, or 2011 could happen again. Upset Georgia in Athens, and I can't do it. I can't throw on garnet glasses or be a sunshine pumper and be remain optimistic about this one. I want to be as much as I do, and I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm not saying it can't happen at all.
Yeah, I agree. I hear you.
But I think because of the line of scrimmage and everything, it's just such a difference, man. And I got to put Georgia in this one. I just want to keep it close. If they do beat us, I wanted to keep it close
and injury free, like Lindsay said.
Exactly, because you got to get you. I mean, you've got some heavy hitters right after Georgia, so
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that you do. So we're all agree here.
Yeah.
Chalk up an L, unfortunately, but we're not on this show to be sunshine pumpers. We're on this show to be realists. And I've always said that about Titos and Chicken. I've said that about myself. I say some things that are going to ruffle feathers from time to time, but that's just me being real, and just to be honest, I mean, Georgia, guys, I mean, it would be different if Georgia was coming to South Carolina. I would have a lot more hope and faith in this game.
Yeah.
But this is the level Georgia's recruiting at, the athletes on that team.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a good matchup to me, I think, especially in the trenches. So, yes, we all agree on a loss here.
Mm-hmm.
But we're turning the page. Mississippi State at home the following week. Mississippi State's a weird team to me. Finished 9-4 last season, 4-4 in the SEC. Another solid quarterback, like Drake May. You got Will Rogers, threw for 4,000 yards last season, 38 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. That is a very good ratio there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, team reminds me of North Carolina a little bit. Heavy offensively, but defensively, I mean, Mississippi State, don't get me wrong, they're better defensively than what North Carolina is. It's not even a question, but I just feel like they're way heavier on offense. The run game to me is very mediocre. I think their leading rusher had 600 and something yards. so nothing, extreme. Zach, where you want to go with this one? Like I said, this is a weird matchup to me.
Mhm.
I think the biggest thing with Mississippi State is going to be really inexperience here with Zach Arnett.
Mhm.
I think that Zach is going to
Okay,
be great. Don't
I
get me
see
wrong.
that.
I think he's got it. He can be. I think he can be good at Mississippi State. But I look at the game before, right before they play us. They play LSU,
Yeah.
and I
Oh,
feel
so
like
we both play big,
yes,
hard matchups.
right,
Excuse
right.
me. Go ahead.
And so, but I think that game is at home for Mississippi State, which obviously helps them out there. But LSU, I
Yeah,
mean, they're favored to win it all this year right now, man. They're favored to win the West. I mean, I've seen them favored to do something this year.
yeah,
To take play against Georgia, and maybe that's the game that decides who's going to the playoffs, who isn't. Depending on how the season
yeah,
goes. But I will say with looking at Mississippi State, yeah, Will Rogers is a great quarterback. He's one of the top quarterbacks in the SEC. Same
yeah,
time, not impressed with as far as their defense goes and how they got everything working on over there. But I will say this: with Zach Arnett coming into his really first hostile environment,
Mhm.
coming into Williams-Brice Stadium as your first time as SEC head coach, I like South
I mean, it's a
Carolina.
lot.
I like South Carolina in this one. I think the crowd plays a huge difference in this one,
Mhm.
and I'm going to give the Gamecocks a win on this one as well.
Okay, Lindsay.
Yep. I have to agree with what Zach said. I had the same thing there
Yeah,
with them playing LSU the weekend before. Obviously, huge matchup, like we have mentioned. And then I think it's a good point too. We have them at home. We're coming back for our first SEC home game. So we know that the atmosphere is going to be electric. We know
yeah,
that it's going to be a hostile environment for sure. And I think a good point as
yeah,
well is you do have a first year. Well, I know he coached in the bowl game for them last year, but really a first year coach coming in for them Mississippi State.
yeah.
And yeah, I just feel all those factors lead to a win for us too. Could be close maybe, or I don't know, stay close and then we pull away in the fourth. I don't know. But yeah, I have a win here as well. So I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
This is one game, guys, that I will have to miss, unfortunately. I will be in Scottsdale, Arizona for a wedding. Let me say this real quick. Stop having weddings during football season. Please. I'm angry that I'm having to miss this game for a wedding. But it is what it is. But yes, like you guys, I do chalk this up as a win as well. So we all agree here.
Yep.
But let's see where we are with this game. We are at number 11, Tennessee in Neyland. Vols finished 11-2 last season, 6-2 in the SEC. 2 losses came to Georgia and South Carolina. God, that sounds so good to say, guys. But one thing here, I am so tired of hearing about Joe Milton's arm. I swear to God, if I hear one more thing about his arm strength, I'm going to lose it. Yes, you can sit on your knees and throw a ball 80 yards. Cool. But
Yeah.
I mean, you're playing in the SEC. You're not going to be able to do anything remotely close to that. The Vols lost a lot last season, to be honest with you, just like Georgia. But recruiting, they finished top 10 in recruiting, I think the last 3 years roughly. So they're able to reload somewhat like Georgia. I wouldn't say they recruit on Georgia's level, but I mean, they're getting the guys that they want there. They're coming for revenge, man. Zach, Lindsay, y'all both know that.
Mhm.
They want to absolutely step on our necks this game. Zach, this matchup, man, what do you think about this game here in Neyland?
Look, South Carolina's only won in Neyland a couple times in history.
Yeah,
Obviously, during some really bad years of Tennessee football, and during some pretty decent years with Tennessee football too. I would say, looking at this, and I've been back and forth with this one on multiple podcasts. Some shows I have us winning this one. Some of them I'm kind of like a coin flip.
yeah.
It's tough going to
Well,
Neyland.
we're realists here, so I want
No,
your
I
realist.
know, absolutely, absolutely. I feel like South Carolina is unfortunately going to drop this one. Yeah, I know. reason why I don't, and it's not got nothing to do with Joe Milton. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Joe Milton's going to be good, but I don't. There's a lot of hype behind him right now. A lot of
It's
hype,
too much. It's way too much,
and
and it's driving me
right,
crazy.
right. It's almost like Anthony Richardson, right? The problem though with the Anthony
Yeah.
Richardson hype is that I didn't buy into it, and we lost that one, and we lost it bad. And I'm not saying we lost because of Anthony Richardson, but we look. God, I don't even want to talk about that game.
That's
But
awful.
it was
No,
terrible.
no.
It's
Waste of gas money for me going to that
Oh,
Alien game.
I hate it for you on that one. I
Yeah.
absolutely do. And I'm not trying to compare these two because I mean those games. I mean it's apple to oranges, obviously. I trust Dow Loggins so much more than I would ever trust in Satterfield. We haven't even seen a game coached by Dow Loggins yet.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
all it takes
Sure.
was simplifying that offense, right? And I feel like South Carolina's offense has what it takes, but I have a feeling this one could become a shootout. And I just think Tennessee may have a little bit more there because really the running game. The running back that they have over there, got a lot of experience. And I don't know, man. I don't feel good about it. And so I'm going to have to chalk this one as a loss. I don't want to do it, but I'm going to have to.
Okay. Wow. Lindsay, where are you at on this matchup here?
Yeah. Tennessee is so obnoxious. Honestly, we all know that. And
we hate orange.
it just is so bad. And if you have to read on Twitter and you would think that we like killed everybody's firstborn or something. They just like can't stand us because we just went and took care of business against them and embarrassed them, and rightfully so. It's just like play a better game and you won't have to worry about it. But I agree. I mean, I don't think they're the better team than us. I mean, on paper or anything like that, I think we match up well against them. But points made here that I agree with are that, we're playing in Neyland. That's a hostile place for sure.
Extremely hostile.
Yeah, I've encountered Tennessee fans. They're one of a kind is what I'll say.
Oh my God. They're a different breed of people, guys.
And so, we know they're going to be fired up. We know that they have this vendetta that they think, that they need to, come clean with. But I agree that it'll be close. But I do think we'll lose this one too, unfortunately. Not necessarily because, Tennessee is so much better than us, but I think just like we've said, we have tough matchups that we would have played 4 games in already come into their place the week before Florida. I think it's just a kind of a recipe for something to go wrong. And so I think this is the game that we lose. Unfortunately, that's just where I'm at. I hate to say it. I really do.
Well, I mean, I agree with y'all. I have chalked this game up as a loss as well. Maybe different if we're in Williams-Brice.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Neyland, I've been there twice, I've been there, twice. That is a very loud stadium. I mean, don't get me wrong, Williams-Brice is loud, but this one, Neyland's right on par with us for a sense. Football is... That's all Knoxville is, football. Just like how Columbia is in a sense. Very similar towns. But cities, excuse me. But yes, I do chalk this up as a loss, unfortunately. So we all agree here on this one. This one could be different. Let's see here. Florida. We got Florida at home. Gators finished 6-7 last season, 3-5 in the SEC. Yikes. But somehow they found out a way to beat us 35-6.
God.
In the swamp. Don't know how, but they did. Another team who's lost a big part of their offense. I mean, Anthony Richardson, not even a question. Everyone knows that. But who plays quarterback next? Zach, like who is the guy? I mean, obviously their backup got in some serious trouble. I'm not even going to talk about that. But I saw Graham Mertz, a Wisconsin transfer.
Yep.
I mean, you know anything about this guy? I don't know anything.
He's terrible.
So.
He's horrible.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you guys for answering.
I hope he's still there when we play him. We'll put it that way. I hope he's still starting.
Yeah. Well, I was reading something saying that he has emerged as the starter in camp or whatever you want to call it. So I don't know where they're going at quarterback. Top rusher and receiver, they're still there. Both solid seasons last year for the most part. I mean, let's be honest. The Gators defense, they're going to be good. I mean, regardless of what they do on offense, the defense is always going to be there. Impressive front line led by that huge ass kid Desmond Watson, that man child. God, that kid's like oh my god, I don't even know. I think he was like 350 pounds. The nose tackle, you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
Zach?
Yeah, I mean, besides that
Yeah.
one play, he really didn't do too much after that, though.
No,
His
well, I
stats weren't
mean,
really,
yeah,
like wham, like but yeah, I know
yeah,
you're talking
yeah. Well, when I was there and I was on the lower level and I saw him,
about. Big kid.
it was just like holy crap!
Yeah.
Like, where do they find these
Mm-hmm.
kids? You know. But I mean, they're all those kids are in their backyard. I mean, it's nice to have that luxury, you know. So this matchup, Lindsay, what do you think on this with the Gators coming to Williams-Brice?
Yeah. I mean, you look back, obviously, the game last year was horrifying. We spoke about it earlier. And so I feel like we spoke about this, with Tennessee, how they have this vendetta against us from what happened last year. I kind of feel like if any of the games on our schedule were to be equivalent to that, would be this Florida game, right? Because of how embarrassed we were, and how the offense, I don't even know what happened. It was a complete, just falling apart on all levels. So I really see this game as being one that is circled for us, so to speak. I'll say that in jest, but I really do. I mean, I feel like this could really be a blowout. Like, I feel like this would be the game where, our offense just really demolishes them because of the pride, and because of what happened last year. And Florida's not good. Florida seems disjointed. Billy Napier, I don't think he's the guy. I don't really know what's going on with him, but quarterback, obviously we mentioned, is questionable at best. And they do, have, ETN and others that are playmakers, but I just see it. I don't think it's going to be close. I don't know. I really feel like this could be a game where we, beat them, by 2 or more touchdowns easily.
Oh, wow.
I do.
Okay.
Going for it here.
Wow. I mean, and the thing about this, I forgot to mention, we have a bye week before this game.
Yeah, it's good.
So that could make a huge difference in this matchup.
Yeah.
Zach, what do you got on this matchup here, bud?
Yeah, so I've been saying, Florida, they had a lot of guys drafted in this past draft. I mean, not a ton, but a lot of guys that made a difference. You had a defensive tackle, Dexter Sr. that went out, and then also you had Ventrell Miller, the linebacker, and then of course you had Torrance, the offensive guard. So a lot of big names, besides obviously Anthony Richardson, were drafted in those portions where it really could have helped the line of scrimmage. And I feel that Florida's coming in, they're going to be at that point, they're going to be overwhelmed. It's going to be one of those that, I mean, there's people talking like this could realistically be Napier's last season at Florida. They don't, Florida, they don't play around. They don't, if they're not winning within a certain time period, they're kicking you out. They're going to find.
And this would be his second or third year. I'm sorry.
This, I believe, is his second.
Wow.
If I'm not, it's a second because we beat. Yeah, it is second.
Wow. Well, I mean, cutthroat business. If you're not producing, you're out. I mean, that's just the name of the game right now.
And I think too, man. Before Florida plays us, I think they have Vanderbilt, if I'm not mistaken, and I think Clark Lee is going to give them hell. So, it did. Am I wrong though? That didn't they lose to Vanderbilt last season?
I was going to say something about that. Yeah, I think they did actually.
So it could be a revenge game for Florida, or it could be like, oh, hey, Napier, you're in big trouble here, bud.
Nail in the coffin.
Yeah, like you're not even full mid-season yet, or I mean, just right at mid-season. And oh, by the way, you may need to find another job here soon.
Yeah,
put the resume back out there because it ain't working here. And then at that point, the recruits, that's when it all just falls apart.
Yeah. So do you see this being a runaway score like Lindsay does?
I could absolutely see it. I have no faith in Graham Mertz for Florida. I think he's absolutely terrible.
I haven't seen the tape on the kid, so I mean,
you
but
watch
he
it.
sounds
There's not much.
No,
How many
it's
highlights?
it's not much.
It really is, and the only way Florida has somewhat keeps us close, or even no, I'm not even gonna say that. But the only way they keep it close is that they get that running game going, and South Carolina can't stop because ETN is ETN. I mean, he's just like his brother, man. I mean, the dude is incredible. I am absolutely glad he didn't go to Clemson, despite Clemson has Shipley. He's great and all, but that kid ETN is something special. So glad he didn't go there. And like I said, if they're able to get him going, it may be a little bit of a different ball game. But that also at that point, if he gets going, that means how our season went in a different direction because we couldn't stop the run. But give me the win against Florida in this one.
Okay. So we are all at 4-2 through the first 6 games. I mean, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I will 100% take that. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Zach, you especially, we love having you on. It's a very smooth, easy conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We just sit back and we talk Gamecock sports, man. If it's not football, it's baseball. If it's not baseball, well, I'm not going to say basketball because you know a lot more about basketball than I do. But, it's just nice to have you on.
Yeah, man.
It really is. So,
I enjoy it.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, we weren't able to have JC. JC had some stuff go on today, but he will join us for in 2 weeks for our second half of the schedule breakdown. So, leave it on that note. Go Cock.